What I'm going to try to do is take Mike's theme and build on a little bit with some of the things that I've experienced as a professional engineer in the Army Corps of Engineers, sort of give you an outline of what the Army Corps of Engineers does, and some of the things that I've been involved with regard to recruitment and placement of whether they're technical people, whether they're construction representatives, civil engineering techs, engineers, professional engineers, geotechnical engineers in our field offices throughout the Corps of Engineers. In 2004, we began to realize that we had a huge gap in the Corps of Engineers with talent because we were having what they call our Chief of Human Resources says a huge bathtub effect, where we have senior level folks and not too many young folks. So we went through this huge campaign to develop, to get folks out of college into the Corps of Engineers. And not only that, to take a look at some of our technical series and hire people into these technical positions, which we don't call professional in the Army Corps of Engineers, nor does OPM. But we see some of the talent there is just as needed and just as professional as our quote-unquote graduate engineers. So with that, what I'll do is I'll briefly go through the Corps of Engineers mission areas and then tie that to some of the demographics that we've seen. And then also I want to focus in on Mike's comment with regard to technology and no identification. I think that's a very important part because it's something that I've seen and I've challenged very significantly within my own organization. As I'm drawn into this career of mine, I think I have a somewhat of a passion because I know what Mike's referring to there, and I'll dwell on that a little bit when we get to it towards the end of this. Okay, first off, missionaries for the United States Army Corps of Engineers, they're all over the place. I don't, hedge the bet that we have military programs, we have civil programs. Within those military programs, we have a strong environmental aspect to that. We have this new sustainability thing that's coming in that's huge. There's a lot of emphasis on sustainability. Net zero is a big thing. So there's some trying going on there. LEED, we were going for LEED Gold, LEED Platinum, but that's been pulled back to LEED Silver because of money. That's an interesting issue. And then there's a push not to have LEED at all. I mean, there's all kinds of things with that going on, and that argument continues. But we are strong into the environmental area, trying to reduce the environmental footprint on our Army installations. And then also on our civil works side, just tremendous application in our civil works missions, really looking at all the ecosystems. Now we're all over the rivers and harbors in this country. And also we are asked continually to assist other nations. China, Brazil, Africa are coming on the forefront very rapidly right now, and we have teams going there all the time. Geotechnical, hydraulics and hydrology. It's very interesting. Research and development, we have a strong arm of research development that's centered in Vicksburg. That's our ERDEC labs there. We support the warfighter, we support installations, energy, environment, and water resources. Homeland security, big support for Homeland security. That's just a constant, a lot of DOD type of tie-in to that. Interagency support, that involves whether we support the Veterans Administration, Department of Interior, GSA some, Air Force, we work with the Air Force quite a bit, Veterans Administration right now. I'm on a team working with the Department of State. We just finished a job doing an analysis of the East Side access up at New York City, the subway work. So we get involved with just, people come to us for our technical expertise, not for our project management, not for anything other than just our technical experience and our engineering experience that we've been, because we have those people that have been actively involved. As a lot of other federal government doesn't get the active people, we do get the active people in the engineering and science area. Geospatial support, we do have a strong element, geospatial support. That really ties to the civil works programs, became very strong with regard to conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. It became very strong after Katrina. We'll talk about that a little bit. Very diverse. We do have this huge real estate mission where we do all this. We do a lot of work for DoD, and we plug it into a real estate mission, but it's really engineering and construction. Here's our program right now. This gives you a little flavor of what's been going on. You notice this this buildup, this huge buildup. We had this base realignment and closure effort. Then we had Katrina, and all the things that came out from Katrina. So all of a sudden, you see this huge buildup of mission dollars over that period from 05 through 12. Right now, we're on the downward turn on that. We did get this big supplemental for Hurricane Sandy. We got $5.2 billion for that, which we're working those issues. Interesting there. We see a shrinking military program. DoD program is actually growing a little bit. There is a lot of concern with regard to the military program and how rapidly that is shrinking. The Civil Works program is extremely critical. We have bad ratings as far as if we look at our ratings for our levees and our dams. You know, we're not doing too well because we don't have enough money in those programs. You know, you have money on a yearly basis, you can't carry it over, and it's a real problem for our Civil Works mission, and we have a huge backlog of work. Now, this is where the Corps of Engineers basically is structured with regard to how they work with industry. In 2012, 2011, we had 36,000 what I call full-time equivalent employees in the Corps of Engineers. We work with construction contractors and we work with architectural firms. Basically, architect engineer firms, they perform 59% of, say 60% of our engineering design work for us, and then we take that and we move it towards maybe construction. That could be planning, that could be designs, engineering, environmental assessments. Now, the construction contractors, they perform 99%. We don't have a construction arm. The only thing that we do actively, or we do have one dredge or two dredges that work that are actually Corps of Engineers dredges, but mostly with the dredging industry, we hire that also. From our chief's latest mission and vision, this is General Bostic delivered. Here's our mission: deliver vital public and military engineering services, partnering in peace and war to strengthen our nation's security, energize the economy, and reduce risks from disasters. The vision: engineering solution for our nation's toughest challenges. That's the vision of the Chief of Engineers, General Bostic. Now, let's take a look at, this is just stateside. I didn't put in, didn't really branch out the Pacific Ocean Division as it ties into Asia, nor the Transatlantic Division, how it ties into Europe. We are getting more involved in Africa, Northern Africa right now. We are very actively involved still in Afghanistan. We do have some involvement in Iraq, and we are actively involved in Germany. And that's historic. Germany has been historic for the Corps of Engineers. But this is the breakout of the divisions and districts, 9 divisions and 43 districts. In those districts, we basically, various types of work. It depends on whether you're on an Army installation, or Air Force installation, whether you're doing civil works, which we consider the rivers and harbors. If you think rivers and harbors, that's basically our civil works mission. Levees and dams, locks and dams. These boundaries are the civil works boundaries. We also have military boundaries. But there's the districts that are associated with each one of the divisions. So if I take a look on the East Coast, you'll notice that New York has a district and a division, And that division would cover the New England district, that would cover the Baltimore district, the Philadelphia district, the Norfolk district. So that's how that breaks out. Commanding General's emergency priorities: transform civil works. Criticism of the civil works program and the Corps of Engineers is that we're too slow and that we have too much to do. We're trying to reduce our planning time to the execution time and do better with execution. However, that's a real trick because the budget is such. And we're really tied to approximately $5 billion a year steady state. The Civil Works mission probably needs to be at $10 to $15 billion a year just to do just to maintain where we are, maybe even to catch up a little bit. We have a lot of catching up to do in our locks and dams, our dams, reservoirs, and our levees. A military focus: defend and protect the nation. We did a really good job. We did do some lessons learned with some of our design build work, but we have a much rapidly shrinking military mission right now. We don't know what that's going to happen with that. We do want to prepare the USACE for the future. We have huge challenges on that. We have huge needs for that. We have huge education needs for this. Trends to watch. They had a big symbol of a downward thumb on this slide. I took it out. Huge pressure on the budget. That's what we brief now. There's huge issues with regard to what we need to do and how we get our dollars to do the work. Infrastructure, there's a huge amount of recapitalization needs to be done. We need to move up our design standards. We have a lot of old design standards that need to be improved. Construction, we are a little bit worried now if our dollars for construction and the cost price index going up, increasing worldwide demand for our construction element. Now, what's this all about? It's basically tying into what we need, our talent, and how we're going to place our talent for the future. But this is basically the 2009 report. I just was reading the ASEE report, 2013. $3 trillion work needs to be done in this country for the infrastructure is the point. The Civil Works program, huge issues on water that's coming up. Right now, the nation is in a 45% drought. Last year, it was 60% drought. This is what we're seeing on a continual basis. There's a huge amount of studies that the Corps of Engineers is doing on global climate change and also water resources. We get involved with the water because we handle water from state to state. And when you handle water from state to state, then you have to get involved with how to deal with that. We have a lot of engineers and technical people that work on this stuff. There is a growing concern now with climate variability, even within the Army Corps of Engineers. When you take a look at rivers and harbors, you take a look at dredging, you take a look at coastal ports, you take a look at protecting cities, you take a look at sea level rise, you take a look at what happened in New York with Hurricane Sandy, and everybody's starting to get the picture that we better be careful here. There is evidence, and we do a lot of geospatial work that show, and we have very good websites that show the data that show that the ocean level is rising. Bit by bit, year by year, decade by decade, it's been going up. And I'd look at this, 3-4 months ago, and sure enough, I do my own studies on climate variability. It's just a passion I have, and it is a concern that its indications are there that the sea level rise is here, is coming, and these are huge challenges for the future. We do see a huge problem with the underappreciation of what the Civil Works mission is and what these requirements are, and the dollars for it. If we take a look at our dams, look at all the dams, 8,100 major dams in the nation. We don't have that many in the Corps of Engineers, but the average rating is D. There's 702 USACE dams. We have critical ratings on these dams. We're trying to get funding to do it, but we have a lot of DSAC level 3 dams. That means very high priority that just are not getting funded with repair. That could be the gates, that could be the spillways, that could be seepage, huge issues with under seepage. Just over years, you know, the water just finally finds a new path underneath some of these structures, and so we go back in. We have to do a lot of, curtain wall type of installation deep, a lot of grouting, and that's a lot of work. That's heavy duty work. It's serious geotechnical work. We have a strong element of geotechnical need and support requirements. So we got that challenge. Our levees, D, it was D minus. I put it as D this time, but it's still, there's a huge amount of work to be done on our levees, getting funding for that. This coincides with ASEE and the ASEE report. Okay, Maritime Nation. New models for doing business. These are just some of the things we're involved with. Of course, New Orleans. Methods of delivery. We are moving to national production centers to try and bring teams together. Now here we go with the integrated human capital plan, the competency factor to deliver. I'm just going to go through this one real fast. This is military programs. We talked about that real fast. We have project delivery for military programs. Basically, we do design, bid, build, design, and adapt, build. Basically, adaption is trying to use a standard design and apply it. Now, the design build, we're sort of moving away from and going back and design, bid, build. We want to do our own design, especially on civil works. That challenges industry some, but we need to have that design capability to understand and have technical competence in the Corps of Engineers. Army facilities focus, sustainment is big. Get rid of the excess, improve energy, improve facility quality, and then build out critical facility shortfalls. All of this is under severe budget challenges right now. We have Hydrographic mission. We talked about that quickly. I'm going to go through this, but basically huge mission on hydrographics. We do have a lot of work on mapping and geospatial work to map rivers and harbors. That's a big element of what we're doing right now. That ties into what I was talking about as far as water and a part of climate change. The website, I'll provide these if you wish for it, the National Levee Database, the links to all of these things. The reason why I'm showing it is that we have very good links to this. It's very interesting to educators, I think. And then the National Public Levee Database. What I'll do is I'll provide Ron these links. I think that they're very important. Coastal mapping, another big area. I talked about that a little bit. The need to survey that. When we found out in Katrina that a lot of our elevations were in error because of factors such as sinking factors, and we hadn't been maintaining our benchmarks, that was a big problem. So what do we do in the Corps of Engineers? What are the main series of the people that do this? In OPM, we have series, we call them professional series, and these are what I put up here. Now, interestingly here, we have the 800 series, 800 to general engineering technology, predominantly civil for the Corps of Engineers, so we have mechanical engineering techs and electrical engineering techs. This is application to design for public works, for real property, for our civil and military mission. Architects, construction control representative, civil engineering. You'll notice mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemistry and chemical engineering, and then geology. Here are the numbers as of 2012. Now these are shrinking. Right now we're going through a shrinking situation. You notice the general natural resource management, bioscience, we do have a lot of those numbers in there. That's for our natural, our ecosystem work that we do. A general engineer, some of those misfits in general engineering, we don't know where to put them. That could be a technology graduate from a Baybet, and they didn't know how to place that person. They end up in a general engineer if we're lucky enough to be able to codify that. We have a lot of engineering technology, and I would say at least half of these people have 4-year Bachelor of Science degrees, but we couldn't place them because the way OPM codifies that particular series. I think we're changing that. A lot of these folks have great education from technology, but now we're placing those folks. Civil engineering, that's our primary area. Mechanical, electrical, chemical, environmental, you'll see those numbers, but you'll notice the technology and the construction control technical, you'll notice those numbers equal about 3,000 in the Corps of Engineers. And those are people that are doing wonderful work for the Corps of Engineers. I would say at least 50% of those do have 4-year college degrees. These are challenges to education and training. The budget, right now, we only get a certain amount of money for continuing education. I've been on a panel that's developed what we call it record of experience in engineering, record of experience and engineering training. I'll share those with Ron. It's very interesting because it shows the training that we need to be technically competent in what we do. I have those, the type of education that we put in the system, and you might be interested in that. We have a proponent-sponsored training program that we call, basically, it's experience teaching other Corps of Engineers people what we do and how we do it. There's a lot of financial pressure on this right now for us. I don't know if we can maintain that. We may be reaching out to colleges to help us with this. We do have a problem with retention now, especially with this furlough thing. We're going to have more of a problem. I see a huge downswing. We did hire a lot of folks, and I actually probably was on directly and indirectly hired about 600, 700, 800 people from 2007 through 2012 for the Corps of Engineers. A lot of those people, we're getting a lot of attrition now with the challenges to the federal budget. Continuing education is a big issue for us. So these are big challenges. And then with that, I probably need a quote, probably taking too long, but that's a real quick overview. Thank you for what you do as far as technology training. It's very important in the Corps of Engineers because we have a huge need for the applied, what I call applied engineering application for what our mission is.